Hello, dear friends. My name is Dmitry, and I work for the Dmitry Nikitin school. Hello, Crimea. Hello, Sevastopol. I did well. Normally, I confused with Simferopol. Last year, I thought the conference is in Simferopol. And I'm like, hello. It turned to be our own city. And I thought you have to take a plane or something like you went to Krasnodar, but you had to go to Krasnoyarsk, but you're quite close to each other. Such joy. Is there anybody here who actually walked here today without using any transport? Could you raise your hand? Who walked here today? Who walked here today? Okay. Anybody here who came here by bus? Oh, good. Anybody here who came to this conference by train? Who came to this conference by train? It's probably here, right? Who came to this conference by plane? Oh, good. I'm asking because it's always lovely knowing people who you are talking to. So, briefly about myself, I'm Dmitry Nikitin, and I run the Dmitry Nikitin schools, which is a chain of language schools. I run Lolioka kindergartens and childcare centers, and we are famous for our continuing professional development activities all over Russia. I keep saying that business class CPD does not exist in Russia, but we are premium economy. So you're welcome to join the fun. Good. Your brain is tired, and I'm a big fond of brain activity. And I asked a lady from Rostov-on-Don to volunteer, and she agreed. It's going to be hell for both of us now, but then it's going to be the same for you. So now we are going to stand up. With no massages here. Stand up. Stand up. Yeah. It's very important to make people standing up because you forget about your Facebook VK, you put your telephones aside, it's beautiful, isn't it? The last lady is closing her Facebook. Good. So, now we are going to show the example which you can use with your students to activate their brain in 3 minutes, okay? And we're going to have 4 simple basic rounds. When I clap my hand at the end of the round, you just stop talking. Good. Now, what you are going to do with the person next to you, you are going to, when I clap my hands, you are going to face a person next to you, and you are going to do this simple activity. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Faster. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you do it as fast as possible. Now face a person, face a person, face a person. Okay? You can start now. I love this activity because you can use this activity with your students to energize them. It takes up to 3 minutes. Your students are all yours because their brain is working actively, because just now you've showed an amazing example of activating 2 hemispheres of your brain, and it's better than coffee. It's better than some drugs. It works with the same parts of brain, and I think you realized at the second and third round that your brain hated working together, really? Your brain hates working together. And when your brain hates its hemispheres working together, it activates itself. So now, hopefully you are more energetic. I'm going to talk about lexical knowledge and is it the key to successful reading. I'm going to have 2 key ideas in my presentation. One idea, I'm going to challenge the word frequency and give you some food for thought. And the second idea, I'm going to challenge some reading techniques and tips. And because what I'm saying is a bit ridiculous and goes against many things written in books, in mainstream books, I gave for each my idea, based on my extensive practice, I gave you a piece of research. Now, attitude towards research is interesting. You can take different attitude towards research. I'm often criticized because I'm PhD, and that's why Dmitry can't teach because he's PhD. Thank you. I can teach. And you can take different attitude to research. We all know that the Earth is in a form of hemisphere, right? It's not flat. But we feel that our planet is flat. If we feel our planet is flat, it does not mean that it's right. If we feel that something we are doing in class is the only way, it does not mean that it's necessarily right. It's approach number 1, give research a go. Approach to research number 2, My imaginary grandmother is 95 years old and she smokes daily. She started when she was 14 and she's still alive, thick and blooming, very mentally active, carry on smoking 2 packs of cigarettes daily. But we know that smoking kills. Research result, if it's not working for your grandmother, put research away. If something is working in your context, but it goes against mainstream research, carry on, carry on. So it's my big approach to research. So now we are going to talk about word frequency and how important it is to teach word frequency. And very often in London on the tube, London Underground, I'll see an elementary student from abroad taking summer course, reading newspaper like the Evening Standard and underline 3 words, okay, I know underline 5 words, and I know and I want to stop myself, mate, take a graded reader, read a graded reader, don't start with newspapers. Newspapers have weird language. Films and music, they have weird language. Poetry has weird language. Start with great readers. On the other hand, they're based on frequency. And very quickly with the person next to you, what 2 words do you think are more frequent out of 6? Very close to the person next to you, which words are more frequent in the English language? Lemon. Stop talking now, thank you. Girls and a few gentlemen, listen to me. I'm not Fidela. I can't shout out loudly. Surprisingly, ridiculous and dragon. Wow. Ridiculous and dragon. And I would challenge it partly because maybe ridiculous is fine, but maybe dragon is not #1 word we want to know. Talking about frequency, then if we carry on, that's funny that word guitar is in 3,000 and word grapefruit is in 9,000. So maybe your upper intermediate students are going to learn grapefruit. But what if they have it for breakfast daily? And it's my next question. It's my life. My biggest hobby is modern art, and it's one of my favorite artists, Kandinsky. And I took a pitch in Tate Modern Liverpool just a couple of weeks ago. And being an elementary Chinese student, I want to use an expressions, express ideas. Your 5-year-old daughter could not have done that. Liberate the color from the shape. As elementary students, I really need these words. It's one of my working days. And as elementary Chinese students, I would love to know how to say customer journey, customer experience, service blueprint, because that's what I do daily. Mm-hmm. It's a part of a district where I live. And it's very close to my heart. I don't want to move from there. It's a lovely place. I may want to say, and I talk about it very often, I need phrase like, it looks very scary, but people are nice. It's freezing, because it's not cold, it's freezing. It's me and Elena, but it's cathedral, and as an elementary student, I really need the word Assumption Cathedral, Uspensky Собор, because it's next to where I live, and Assumption is not the very basic word, isn't it? I need word merchants, I need word reconstruction. And it's my cat. Oh, baby, I'm coming back tomorrow. So Chanel, it's his name. Stray cat, and I adopted my stray cat, and everybody in this room knows about my cat. I talk about it, but as an elementary student, I want this vocabulary, which means, and I don't want the word dragon. Thank you. Ridiculous, maybe. My point is that #1, frequency depends on your student's personality, and you can have this personal frequency. My second point that we have some words which are not frequent, and homework, I didn't find homework in any frequency list. Because normal people don't say homework. People don't know word collocation. If you tell them word collocation, they would look at you as if you're a weird foreigner. But we need it. My second point, we have this classroom language, meta language, language to speak about the language, which is very frequent to our context. My next point is, anybody teaches little angels? Angels? Yeah. They know the word porridge, night, magic wand, sparkle, and my kindergarten teachers, they know such advanced vocabulary. They learn from their students. So kids' vocabulary is going to be very different. The next point is some words which are more frequent in some countries are going to be less frequent in other countries. For example, candle, Easter, mosque. It's going to be quite relevant in some countries, but not relevant at all in other countries. So it's my next point on frequency. And it's a joke. It's not serious, but it's a life hack which works for me. Did you say this word today? Did you say this word yesterday? If not, and you're an elementary student, it's not relevant. It's a bit of a joke, but it works. It works pretty well. Then I was going to share some ideas we discovered based on research. And idea I personally use: read aloud while your students follow, or play the text to the text while they follow. And personally, I think it's the most productive method of reading if you need content. If you really need content. So what I do now, I take a book and I listen to the same book and read to the same book at the same time. And it works wonders. I'm benefiting so more. I don't have to reread it. I remember like 80% of the book. It's the most productive way ever. And you have a luxury of reading in English. And in English, for the majority of mainstream book, they would have an audiobook recorded by the author. And this is what we would do with our students. Very often with my C2 students, we would read a text and listen to it at the same time. And then I'll give them the task. And it's based on research. Then, don't kill the messenger, it's research. Minimize guessing from the context. Now, it's very sad because many people are obsessed with guessing the words from the context. Good. It's a text. It's a text I've written. Could you read it? It's a real text, written by me. The best book I've read in 2019 so far. Also, the first one, seriously a great read. I never expected to write this book by a fashion icon, Iris Apfel. I read it on the 1st of January, and on the 2nd of January I created the post. Okay, now it's a context. Could you read the text? It's a meaningful text, yeah. I'm writing, I wrote a book, somebody wrote, great. And Ron Marine, a good friend and researcher and school owner from Germany, is writing, I met her in New York and she's very, guess the word from the context. I met her in New York and she's very, now could you answer please the exam question? Using exam strategies. Now it's an exam text and you don't know one word. You know 95% of words. You don't know only one little word and you have context with pictures. Could you answer the question? The answer is you don't know. And you're not even sure, and you can't even make an educated guess. He used the word sassy, by which he meant lively. It's a slang for lively. But I mean, you can't guess the word from the context, full stop. It's my point, you may disagree. Let's go to something more meaningful. It's taken from the research. Could you talk to a person next to you and guess what the weird words are? Could you talk to a person next to you and try to guess what the weird words are, what they mean? Now it's more interesting. My only question is, what is stopple? Tide, tsunami, waves, water, hurricane, torrential rain. Yeah? My only concern is that we kind of know in this context, artificially created for language learners and for teacher training, we kind of know what stopple is. And we kind of know what kartoffel is. And we even know the ending of kartoffel. We know it's infinitive. We know it's the first form. But we are not sure what it is. And if we encourage our students guessing from the context, it will cause confusion. Our students will be confused because they will think that stopple is hurricane, or stopple is tsunami, or stopple is torrential rain. They will never know. They will never know. My tip is look it up in a dictionary. When I've been teaching in London, international students, 45 refugees, ooh, challenging. You explain it, of course, but then they go to their Chinese English dictionaries and they are, oh, Weigorzhen, good, I got it. They would always double check it in the dictionary. But if you have a luxury of teaching monolingual class, my point as a customer, and I pay you a lot of money, colleagues, to teach me English. And if I'm a B2 student and you spend 10 minutes to explain the word exaggeration to me, and at the end I go to a dictionary and look at exaggeration, don't waste my time, translate. So it's my only point. And I would challenge exam reading tips and strategies. I've been looking for months for any solid piece of research which would tell me that exam strategies work. I didn't find any. Exam strategies, maybe they work. They never worked for me. They never worked for many of my students. But many books are obsessed with exam strategies based on their author's experience. Because basically authors in international publishing houses and glossy books, they're told to write exam book and integrate exam strategies, and they invent exam strategies and they put it in their books. No solid research I found on that. So,
Long sources for finding.
we'll come back. Let me finish on doing my job. We'll have Q&A session. And a lot of people, they actually a bit like Olga, there is an idea, there is a text, there is a class, but there is no any single piece of research done. Okay, good. Carry on. Don't make your students read aloud. Because if we are making our students read, if you are making our students read aloud, they concentrate on form. When you're teaching your students the rules of reading, and it's an endless debate all over the country, do we teach transcription, Dmitry? Tell us, is that right or wrong? We've been having this debate in Nizhny Vartovsk for 55 years. Should we tell us the right answer? And I'm like, a silly foreigner, I'm like, oh, it depends on your context. And then, no, tell us the answer. If your students read aloud, they concentrate on the context. And it's fundamentally unfair to ask your students to read a paragraph and then ask him a question. Don't do it. Good. Read and reread. I'm a big fan of rereading texts. Books I read them 3-4 times. And I always find something new. And I've been running a training just some days ago in Simferopol. In Simferopol, and I asked girls a question: how many times do you think we should make our students listen to the text? And people knew the right answer. It's 2 or it's 3. It's the right answer. There is no right answer. Your students listen to the text as many times as they need to. Ask your student, do you want to listen to it again? Do you want to listen to it again? Do you want to read it again? And it's going to work. I love the idea of using reader's theater when if you need the content, just after you read the text, you ask them to write a play and they act a play. It takes 90 minutes. It's long, but it boosts their creativity, it boosts their cognitive thinking, they're active all the time, they're producing new language. I remember we've done that in International House ancient years, 2010, when I was a student there, studying for proficiency. They gave us an article by philosopher, and we had to act it the next lesson. One of the best lessons in my life, and I still remember the ideas. It was Religious for Atheists by Alain de Botton. I mean, it happened like 20 years ago. I still remember it. Can you imagine? So then, and very comprehension tasks. Because if we do the same activity lesson after lesson, it creates a negative environment for our students' brains. You all know the joke, we are all victims of the same system. Hello children, hello teacher, who is on duty today? I'm on duty today. Who is absent today? I'm absent today. It stops creativity. It stops creativity, very comprehension tasks, and very often we are all victims of huge marketing houses like Macmillan, like Cambridge exams, who basically want our money. I'm sorry, Macmillan is money-oriented machine. CUP is money-oriented machine. Cambridge exam is money-oriented machine. And they limit us with comprehension tasks. Go deeper, read more books, find more comprehension tasks, which are not for exams only. And my point is, people think that good readers are good language knowers. That's wrong. Good language knowers are good readers, and good language knowers are good exam takers. Not people who went through CUP ready for FCE book are good exam takers, but people who are good language knowers are good exam takers. Good, and don't forget to treat the text as a text. And we've been having a conversation with Julia, and she actually mentioned that she agrees with me. It's very sad when we treat a text as it's not a text. I had a wonderful beginning of the lesson I observed in London. A guy came into the lesson and he was late. He said, teacher, late, sorry. Teacher, late, sorry. Oh, what happened, Antoine, what happened? Got married yesterday. Oh, very busy all night. It's like, and then she's like, okay, good. Now let's go to page 26. Treat people as people, treat text as text. If the text is interesting, treat the text as if it's a text and not a Lexis learning machine. Okay, now to a person next to you or in group of threes, could you think of some questions may arise during the talk? I'm done. What questions arise during the talk? To a person next to you, what question arise during the talk? First of all, I wanted to say, thank you. First of all, I wanted to say sorry to the guys here behind the column. I'm thinking about you, I just can't see you. Sorry. I know that you are here. Good. And maybe we have some minutes, maybe a couple of random questions you want to ask.
About the presentation.
Not about your life, darling, yeah, about my presentation.
Okay, do your learners take these exams?
Yes, we have to take these exams because we are all slaves of international exams at the moment. And if I tell them we are not going to take these exams, I'm going to lose customers. And if I lose customers, my teachers lose money. And my teachers are mostly women. And a lot of them earn more than their husbands. And they're going to have smaller salaries. That's why we have to use Macmillan books and Cambridge books. And that's why we have to take international exams.
Thanks.
What books would I use? I'm not going to promote international houses brands, I'm not telling you. My teachers would, the system is my teachers would vote for the books they're going to use. And if they vote it, and they take it very, very seriously, they call publishing houses, they send us legally demo units, we publish them legally, we use all the materials, and then we use it for 2 years. Then the girls may change their mind and they can vote for a different book. And they're different all the time. I don't believe that there is any good book, and if I tell you the book I use, you're going to be biased. And my point is, in an ideal world, our materials are unique. In an ideal world, I would encourage you to create your own materials and not to buy any other materials. Make money for yourself, not for Oxford. And it's funny because in the modern world, you can get access to the same editors who edited Gateway, who edited New English File. You can buy the same editors, More questions? Probably the last one.
I couldn't get the idea. Why don't we make our students read aloud?
Because if you make your students, you can ask them politely, Katya, to read aloud. If you are teaching them the technique of reading aloud, of putting letters together, if you are,
Not for comprehension.
it's fundamentally unfair to ask your student any questions when your student has read aloud. Because your brain is concentrating on putting phonics together, and it's working if you are taking this reading rules system, which is good, or if you are taking a phonics system, which is good. But if you are the fan of the whole world approach, the whole world approach doesn't need reading aloud at all. Good. So thank you very much. Thank you for smiling at me.